Hi there, Loy Machedo speaking to you from loymachedo.com, and today the book review is going to be Switch by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. A pretty amazing book. I mean, when I started to read it, I just couldn't put the book down. This is a book that focuses on change. Let's say, for instance, you want to get rid of a bad eating habit or an addiction or a behavior or a lifestyle. Now, many times when you decide to go on a diet or decide to change your behavior, you notice after some time you kind of lose the intensity, the steam, the drive and the desire to want to change, and then you go back to the old ways. So in this book, he breaks down as to how you can successfully make that change and let it remain permanent. He has divided the human behavior into two aspects. That is, he has created this amazing metaphor. The first one is the logical side. The logical side being a driver of a big elephant. And the emotional side is the elephant itself, which is 2 or 3 tons. It's like this big, huge, massive animal. Now, the 3 main criteria that he has suggested is, one is we need to understand how the logical side works. We need to understand how the emotional side works. And the third one is we need to set the path for the change. Now, some of the solutions that he stated in the book, the first one being is narrow down on what works and do not focus on what does not work. Let's say, for instance, there is a person who is having an addiction towards drinking alcohol. Now, he decides he's going to give up alcohol and he stops drinking for a couple of days. Let's say 4 days, and then he gets back to drinking alcohol again. Now, in our eyes, we might look at it as a failure. Well, he tried and he did not succeed. However, what Chip and Dan say is we need to focus on what worked. There were 3 or 4 days that he did not touch alcohol. So there is something that really works. Let's focus on this. Let's try to elaborate more on this. Let's try to have some research as to why it is that he was successful. The other things which he has put across is break goals, break big, large chunk goals into small, specific, achievable targets. And one other good point which I would share with you is keep a support group, because you tend to need people who can help you, support you, and create this new culture. Overall, I kind of really liked this book. I thought this book was really practical in nature. It had many thought-provoking examples. He gave the examples of Amazon.com. He gave also gave the example of Brian Wonsick and the popcorn story, Jerry Sternin in Vietnam, the 5-minute room rescue, and Fataki in Tanzania. If you want to know what these examples are, then I highly recommend that you must read this book. I give it a perfect 10 out of 10 because I felt most of the examples stated here were stuff that I could inculcate in my life. So, well, this was the book review, Switch by Dan and Chip Heath. And I would say, please, if you want to really make a change, I think you should buy this book. Thank you for watching Loy Machedo at loymachedo.com.